the blurb website, au.blurb.com, and you're looking to use the tools, the correct tools. So you go to Design Tools, you go to Adobe InDesign, and it says InDesign and InDesign CC plugin. So that's what we want you to use if possible. So it will depend what version of InDesign you're running as to which one of these you download. It's going to demand that you sign up. I can't remember if I've got an account or not. I must have, but I've probably forgotten it. So if you haven't got one, you'll have to make one. Just bear with me. I don't remember my username. Possibly. No. Please log in. So I do already have an account, so then I've got to go and log in. Knows what password I used. Okay, that was the correct password. So now we've got to download that plugin. Should ask me which version. No, it's not. I thought it would. Note that you do have to have InDesign closed before you start this process. So once you get that package, you just follow the steps to locate the file. So it's an installer file. So it should be installer package, like so. And this program will run to see if the software can be installed. Blah blah blah. Continue. Continue. Say yes to all of that. Agree. This is where you select your version. So I think I'm running 2019. Just depends what you've got as to which one you want to download. And go ahead, look, it takes up a lot of space, blah blah blah, install. You will have to have administrator's rights to it. So if you aren't the administrator, you'll have to find whoever's got that password to put in there, or you won't be able to install anything. Close that. I'll just keep that for the moment, so I may have done the wrong one. Go and open InDesign. Let's see if I've got the right one. Oh, it's InDesign 2020, so I did do the wrong one. So you've got to make sure you get the right package when you do it. So probably I've already done it. So let's create a new. You go create new, and what we should have is the ability to create a book. So if that's not installed properly, you go to InDesign, yeah, it's not going to work if it's not installed properly. So I'll have to go back and install the other one. So just bear with me a second and I'll go back and reinstall that. The wrong one, download plugin. blah blah blah. Doing it the second time. Continue. Select the version. So we are 2020. Continue. Okay. Oh, so it's not going to work because I've got InDesign open. So I've got to quit that. So I'm kind of showing you what you shouldn't do. Continue. Okay. Install. Then we need that password. And then you'll be able to install it. Close, and then you can keep or trash that depending on what you want. So it should be in your downloads folder. So this one, the most recent one. Okay. Continue. It's making me redo this. Okay, so now we should be able to go and open our program and hopefully see. So let's go to applications, InDesign 2020, and let's hope the plugin's in there this time. Really taking its time to open. Okay. Your presets. Now, let's just close that because we don't want to do that. What we actually want to do is go here instead to blurb book creator. So now you can see that we've actually got blurb book creator installed. It should look like that. So you click on that to open your book creator. Oh, it's making a racket. And now you can see that you can pick your book size. So say you decide you want to do the large landscape. Okay, if you're getting that, you've got to go here, create new book, and then you should be able to go and choose that book size that you want. Choose your paper type, so hopefully in your document that you did, your planning document, you've decided which one of these already, so you know what you're choosing. It's the paper type. The cover, whether it's a hardcover or image wrap, whichever one. Let's go for the image wrap. If you want to have an ISBN number, and then just create page as a template. So you're creating your own template right now. And I'll just pages, let's just say AAA pages, so that I know what it is, blurb pages. And then we should spend a way to go and make it. So there's your template. And when you've finished the book and you know how many pages, that's when you can then generate it. But you'll find that you'll need a reasonable amount of pages to be able to do that. So it's probably not 20, I think it's something like 24 before it'll let you create that cover. Be sure you finish with your pages, designer, confirm the final page count. So you really don't want to do this cover creation till you're sure about how many pages you're using. And it does depend on the book's, how many pages your book ends up, what size that is, simply because you do have a spine. And even if you're doing soft cover, you've still got to allow for how much extra you need for the cover. So that's the cover now. So I wouldn't be creating that cover until you get to the end of the whole process. So let's just now go back to just say okay to that. And the plugin does let you upload it directly to Blurb, but it's quite easy to make the PDF and then upload that into Blurb. So I do have instructions for that. So what are we looking at here? So let's just go and look at pages. So you see this is not the cover. Okay, your cover's a separate document, even on soft-cover, self-cover books. So what you're looking at here is the very first page where it's a single-sided page and then the cover's sitting over here. So you want to have your logo and something, a little bit about you, your name or whatever you want to have there, or it might be that you turn this into a contents page and have just a logo and then, headings for each sort of section that you're going to have. So what are we looking at here? What's this grey business? These are just the instructions that tell you what to do and what to put on each page, and they also give you a kind of a safe boundary to the margins to make it clear that this is where your image should go and no text should be coming over to the outside. It also has the bleed, the correct bleed there, so any images that have to go, if you want full image, or you want it to just go to the edge, it's got to expand out over into the bleed area. So let's just open the Layers palette, and you can see that you've got already, they've put the two layers on the instructions. You need to just turn that off before you start designing. That's just there as a guide, so it tells you what page you're on and what this page is. So turn that off, and then you can go ahead and start adjusting it. Now, when we get to the first double spread, for example, you might realise that that's not, particularly if you're doing a perfect bound book with a hard cover, that's where you might decide that you want to have a more generous inner margin here. So do go up to your margins, that's layout, margins and columns. And you might also think that that's quite a narrow margin at the side. So this is where you go and adjust it and unlink them so that you can adjust them separately. So that inside one you can see it's unlinked, and it is quite a bit more generous than the other margins, but you can always increase that. Let's put it up to 25, and I don't mind about the narrow top margins, but maybe I want a more generous outside margin, so maybe I want that one to be 15. So you can fully customize and column gutters and all sorts of stuff. If you want to put columns on, then you can start putting it on here, or you can do it on the individual page, or you can do it on the master page if it's going to be everywhere. So say OK to that, and you'll see that I've now changed that, but notice that because I did it in the document, not the master page, it's only applying to that page. So I'm just reminding you that it's just like any other InDesign document. You have document pages, but anything you want to change for the whole document, you should really go and do that on your master pages. So if I do those same changes here, margins and columns, I'm now on the master pages, and any changes I make will be made for the entire document. So let's just do that. Let's just say I want 15 for whatever reason. And now when I go and look through the document, everything's going to look the same. So do this kind of stuff first before you get too far. Make these decisions about the document, and notice that the margins have not been adjusted over here, that each page on the master is separate. So you can actually decide to have separate margins and so on, but I want them to be the same. So I probably should have selected both when I was doing that, say 25 and 15, just for instance. So now they're the same. So what else should I be putting on the master page? On the master page, I should be putting anything that I want to repeat throughout the, just get rid of that. So I should be putting any repeat objects that I want to turn up right throughout the document. So say I want to have a coloured border that's going to appear right throughout the document. Just pick a colour to do there so you can see it. And because I've put it on the master page, it's going to appear everywhere. So if I come in here to the document, it's now on each of those pages, but it's only on the side that I put on the master page that I put it on. It's not on the other side. So you can very much kind of arrange on the master page some kind of overall generic things that you want to appear on every page. So think about what that might be. It might just be a line. Maybe you want to have a line just appearing, and then you're going to organise your text. You know, I don't know, this is where you have to start thinking about the actual design of it. Don't ask me why I'm choosing blue, but say you wanted to do that, and then you wanted to have a typical text information. So this is where you could set up what you're going to label it, your labeling system. So you can choose the font, you can get it all set up on the master page. So, you know, the first thing might have been, you know, design problem. And then we might have had, you know, what your concept was. So that's kind of the solution. Might have been technical details. So that might be the programs you used, etc. So you'll get a standardized way of approaching that information. If you set that up on the master pages, then it can appear on all the documents, and you can unlock it and change the information as needed. So, so if we wanted to, you know, choose a font that we've used on our business card, so we're keeping with our branding, and our colour that we're using for the text and for elements is the same branding colour that you've designed with your logo. So once you've set up one of these, because it's on the master page, you can then save yourself a lot of time. However, you're not limited by it. You are able to unlock the master pages. So on this particular page in the document, I've decided I don't need that that particular piece there. I want to put it somewhere else, or I want to change, just to edit it and change the information, I'll need to override the master page items on this page. So you will need to do that to change the text. So now I'd be able to edit it, it will be unlocked. So for the description and the design problem, I can now design blah, blah, blah. So but what I don't have to fuss around with is the position and making sure it's the same, because I know it's the same. So in whatever relationship I've got in terms of space below the line, I don't have to keep fiddling with that. It's already there. However, if I decide I don't want it there on this particular page, because it's unlocked, I could move its position for this particular page. So that's the basic kind of way of approaching the design and using the master pages to really get, to save you a lot of time with the whole job. Excuse me. So make those design decisions. Don't be, globally, don't be making them on each individual page, because that's going to make a nightmare for yourself in terms of consistency. You can see how easy that is. I've got it set up on the master page. When I'm up here, I'm on the master. And then for the individual page, if I try to go to that page and click here, I can't edit it yet because I need to go up to the little tag up here and say override master page items, and then I'll be able to edit it. So this should help you get started with the project. I wouldn't get too far into designing the cover yet in terms of, I've sure come up with ideas for it, but the actual template, I suggest you do that final template at the end when you really do know how many pages you need. So 20 I think is actually too little. I think you actually, to produce some of them that won't even let you do it at 20, you might have to be at 24 before it'll allow you to generate the cover. So it is different for the different templates. The lay flat ones, as I said, I haven't used them. So for that, if you're using a lay flat template, you probably find these, it's not so crucial to get a nice space here. It's not so worrisome in terms of the binding disappearing. It's very important if you're using a portrait perfect bound one to be very generous with this inner margin. So I hope that gets you started with the whole blurb template thing. It is a good idea to download that blurb book creator and be able to generate the template, yourself. I have put some of the templates on the Google Docs, so you can find them there. However, they might not be. I might need to make them IDNLs. But you can see these choices here, and you can also see that you can link directly to upload your book. And the other nice thing about it is that as you go, you're getting the price in there. So it is a really good idea to download this plugin, and that way you can head off if you realise, well, actually I didn't want to spend that much, because I've picked the biggest size here, and I've picked really nice paper and a hard cover. So those are the most expensive options. So as you're going along, you can check how much the whole thing's going to cost you, and you might decide, oh, okay, that's a bit too much. I might change the size and go to the small 11 by 13 landscape instead. So very much personal decision in terms of your pricing and your budget, but also things like the paper that you're choosing will change the costs. Standard is obviously cheaper, but do be careful with that because 80 GSM is very, you might get a lot of show through from one page to another. So if you've got something dark on one page, it may actually show through in that. That's really more of a text product for a text, say an actual novel or something. Premium luster is quite good. Premium matte is good, but your colours will be a bit flatter. The photo is also very, very nice, particularly if you do want to showcase photography as part of your work. It will punch the colours up, but you may find it's a bit too, too shiny. So you get a lot of glare when you're trying to turn the pages and so on. So personal preferences though, and you can see that that's going to be more expensive. It's 140 GSM, it's quite solid. Really is designed to be used for a photo book. It's just photos. The uncoated is quite nice, and so that's a better option than trying to use this text semi-matte if you want that uncoated flat look. It's even flatter than the matte. Okay, but yeah, if you think you might be disappointed with the colours, they will dull down a lot. Luster's a pretty good option, and so is the photo for getting really poppy, stronger colours. And luster's probably the safest bet. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it, but nothing like a pearl photo, but it does have a nice feel to it. And the premium matte is also quite good, but your colours will be slightly flattered. Uncoated, they'll be very flat. So, great if you've got a lot of pencil drawings. It tends to make it look like a nice sketchbook effect, but not great if you're trying to really showcase your use of colour, because it won't match in any way what you've got on screen. Be a lot duller with that. Okay, so that's probably all I need to say about that. Come back to me with questions, but hopefully this video will help you get started with downloading the plugin, making the template, and then really the big thing is thinking about your design and doing some, for next week, having a couple of pages laid out. And what I'm really interested is to see how you're going to design this text, and if you can do like a typical heading. Say over on this page you want to introduce whatever section it is, if it's illustrations or whatever it is, then again, rather than trying to set that up individually on each page, go to your master pages and put a typical heading in. You're not locked to it, like you can change it at any stage. That's the whole point of this process, is to get you going on it, so that you've got something to talk to me about, and we get a sense, with the text, that your whatever heading styles you're using, they do relate to what you had on your business card. Let me just go back up here, and I can't even remember which one I had. Oh, I don't remember. It wasn't that. So try to yeah, it was this one. Try to match your choices on your branding document. That's what it was for. You should have worked out all this stuff so that you know exactly what font you're using, and all you're working with now. You've got this language of colour and type, and what you're working now is to really style the whole look and feel of this ahead, and to save yourself time. So even things like considering the heading and the colour, think about desaturating and going for, instead of a black, going for something that's a little bit grey, or it's your branding colour, and so on. So so whatever it is you want to do with that, set it up on your main master page, and then when you come in here, obviously you may not want to have that heading on each page. So again, you would unlock that master page by saying override all master page items on the individual page, and then you'd be able to change that to typography or whatever it is you want it to say. Or you might have, this is only, the first page has that heading, and then, you don't need it on the other pages. So you get down to the next page and you override the master page items and delete that off that page, because you don't need it. Okay, so that's really the main point of this video, is to get you going in a way that's quite time efficient, because you want to get going into this project and you want a consistent layout, but you want to be able to change it at will. So obviously anything you want to set up, you can set up on that master page and then delete it. You can put in, for example, a text box, and you can set up columns in that text box. So you really get the style of the text and everything. Use dummy text. If you wanted to have, a couple of columns, or say more on one page or whatever, put it on the master page still, even if it's repeating only twice in the book. You can always flick through and delete it off the other pages. And the great thing about putting it on the master pages is that all the fiddling and the spacing, you do it once on this page, but it doesn't stop you from going and unlocking it and moving it around, or changing what the actual information says. Alright, I better stop talking. I think I'm losing my voice. I hope that answers a lot of the questions that you've kind of been worrying about, and that when we touch base next, I'll hopefully talk to you tomorrow, but next Tuesday, the portfolio class, that you've got at least some ideas you can show me You can screenshot what you've done, just a typical layout. And what I'm really interested in is how you're going to deal with this labelling system and how does it relate to your branding. Okay guys,